All right, we are on air. Today is Thursday, June 27th, and this meeting is a community outreach meeting. I appreciate the comments that says I need a better backdrop. It's very appropriate. Thank you. Yeah, sorry about the construction. We're painting and stuff, but it's fine. So for this week's agenda, we have reorganized it a little bit. Tim, I know you don't like this, but if you have any different order you want to do, that's totally fine. But I'm just going to roll through it because that's what we have. Yep. Starting with talking about backdrop in other places. The last time we had a community outreach meeting, we decided it was time to set up some more podcasts and some more information about backdrop and other sources, so that now that there's a Drupal 7 end of life, we can remind people that they have another option for what to do with their Drupal 7 sites. So I did a podcast, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe it's last week, I don't remember, which is sort of like an update on what have we been doing recently and what should people think about in terms of moving their Drupal 7 sites in the future. We talked a little bit about like the use cases for upgrading versus migrating, when to rebuild a new site versus when to update an existing site, stuff that might be useful for people, and also sort of in the context of what is it like to do that with Backdrop, which I thought was fairly good. We've got another podcast scheduled for next Tuesday, I think. I don't remember, but they are all on the Backdrop calendar. So if you go to backdropcms.org and check out the Google Calendar, they should all be there, the scheduled podcast things. And then there should be another one, I think, 2 or 3 weeks after that. So I tried to sort of spread them out a little bit, so we can sort of keep reminding people in different places that Backdrop is still a viable option. But I think we also need more non-podcast news out there. So I reached out to a ton of blogs, like big tech blogs, things like Ars Technica, and I'm not sure if Backdrop is a big enough story for any of them to want to cover, but I thought that might be really cool if one of them wanted to be like an article on the Drupal fork. So I contacted like 10 or 15 of them and was like, not sure if this is interesting. Here's some information. Here's the website. Let me know if you need to, know more or whatever. And I have heard nothing back. So I'm assuming that wasn't very effective. But I did list all of the news sources that I contacted in the blog post or the GitHub issue about external mentions. So if we want to reach out to those sources again, if we have another idea for a better story, or if someone else wants to contact them or something, we at least have a list of like, these are the tech blogs that we've found in the past. And if there's new ones, we can add those too. None of them are Drupal specific. They were all just sort of various large, like open source or tech news or whatever, bigger picture stuff, but nothing back, no nibbles there.
Yeah, I had forgotten about the mentions. Did you add the podcast?
I don't remember. I never thought about it. I don't know if I did.
I haven't done it. Like, I was very diligent about it. Like every month or so, I would search the internet's, like what Google said in the first couple of pages, but I haven't done it in months. Yeah, I'll do that again. I'll do that. I'll add it.
I think I might have. I think I was definitely working on it, but I'm not sure I ever actually like hit submit on the form.
Yes, you did. It's there.
Okay, good.
So how about in terms of blogs? I'm thinking about the like Medium. I'm not a big fan of Medium normally, but it has that advantage that anybody can publish something, right? So I'd rather we create content for our own blog, but maybe on an occasional basis, we should try to post something on Medium just because there's an opportunity to hit that audience.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And isn't like opensource.com or there's a site like that isn't, do you know what I'm talking about? It's an open source website that I think anybody can submit to.
Yeah, I think that you're talking about Redis.
No. I'm looking at opensource.com right now. I don't remember if that's it or not. anyways, you know, we don't need that. What?
Quora?
No. This is a website that has like open source in the title. It's about open source stuff, open source news, and I thought that anybody could submit something. And there is an opensource.com. I don't remember if that's the one I was thinking of. But the point being to identify, you know, some places where we can just submit stuff and we don't have to like depend on them.
If you do come up with those, can you put those in that issue too? It's issue number 126 on the backdropcms.org queue. I think it would be good just for us to have, you know, later on when we're like, oh, we should do something, just have a list of places where we can either post or try and notify them that we have something to post if we think they'd be interested.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next item here is advertising. So I ran a little test campaign last month on Facebook that I paid for myself. I only invested like $25, but I wanted to see what would happen. And it looked like we got more traction from daily Facebook posts from our group than we did from the ad that I put there. But I think that's a little different in terms of our audience, because people who've already liked our page or friends of people who've liked our page are a much sort of more guaranteed group of people that continue liking our stuff than the ad, which just goes to like anyone who's mentioned they're interested in Drupal. So I'm right now, the sample ad that I posted drove people to Backdrop's homepage, or homepage? I think it might have been the upgrade from Drupal 7 page. I don't know, some page on our website. But what's happening with the posts is that we're getting more and more people liking the Backdrop page. And so I don't know, like in terms of marketing strategy, if it would be better to encourage people from the Facebook ad to like our page, because I think that might be a more guaranteed way to capture those people. Like if you're already on Facebook and you're looking at something you're interested in and it says like the thing, you're probably going to be like, okay, I'm going to like it. But if it takes you to like a website that involves, you know, demoing software or something, that's probably something you're not going to do when you were on Facebook originally. Like that's kind of a whole separate thing. So I was wondering if I might run another sample ad that instead of telling people to go to backdropcms.org, targeted people to get them to like our page. And then at least we could continue getting information to those people rather than having captured them once, but then lost them if they didn't get caught on our website. So we also have the ability to add like specific events, like we can tell if they sign up for our newsletter, or we can tell if they download our software, try the demo or whatever. I haven't done any of that because it requires like setting up some stuff on our site to track those things. And I'm a little worried about putting like Facebook tracking code on our website. But that's also an option if we wanted to get serious about advertising on Facebook, we could do that. But because when the PMC talked about it, there was hesitation about paying Facebook for this stuff, I would prefer to continue like using Facebook as much as we can without giving them any of our money. So I think like doing stuff like the weekly posts and whatever, or daily posts might be a good way to go for now, since that seems to be working. But I think there's probably more we could do if we wanted to leverage stuff there. So I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts as to whether I should try another paid monthly campaign with a different target, or should we just stick to what the free stuff?
Well, I'll just add, I have mixed feelings. I did do in a previous business paid Facebook advertising that was effective for a local, my restaurant. Mixed feelings about it. I understand the pros and cons. I'm not 100% against it. If you know, I think it's worth experimenting with. I also feel like a lot of people that depend on Facebook for their advertising have gotten, well, for their marketing, without, you know, that Facebook is really steering you towards paid advertising, right? So a lot of people who spent years building up lots of likes of their pages are now finding it totally ineffective unless they pay for ads. Or at least I've heard stories of that. So I wouldn't say not to do it, but I would, you know, I get the sense that the effectiveness and the way that people are using Facebook is changing, and that Facebook is getting better at extracting dollars from you
Yeah.
in order to make it effective. So we should just keep that in mind. So, but I probably think that we ought to do more there for free. Just
Yeah.
we ought to be more regular. I seldom go on Facebook anymore, but I probably, it's worth doing.
So what I've seen based on what I've been doing so far is that I have like one post scheduled every day. I do this, I think, on Twitter too, or I think there's 2 posts a day on Twitter, but one post every day on Facebook. And then after the post goes out, it says like 100 people interacted with this thing or whatever. And then sometimes people comment, sometimes people like it, sometimes people share it. And then it'll say like, so-and-so liked this post, encourage them to like your page. And so if it's someone that doesn't like the page and they liked a single post, you can ask them to like the page. And then the next time we post, they'll see it. So it's sort of making the next post I set out, rather than being 100 people, it's now 150 people. And so I think in terms of like spreading information about Backdrop, it's good. I'm not sure that it's going to like lead to anything tangible, but I think because right now we want to spread information, that's fine. I think like longer term, if we wanted to turn those people into like adopters or newsletter signups, that's going to be really hard, because trying to get them off of Facebook and onto another thing is tough. But because I think right now what we need more than anything is like branding and information awareness, it's probably okay. So maybe I'll just keep focusing on the free stuff that gets that now, and then later if we decide we need different ways to get to people, we can try something else.
Well, the way I would think about this kind of marketing is you're just trying to keep your brand visible, right?
Yeah.
So when somebody's at a moment that they're thinking about, it's like we're not going to be able to, we don't know when they're going to need Backdrop. So the idea is just to keep the idea in front of them. So when they think of it, then they go, oh, I should like Google Backdrop and go to it. So it's not like we need to take them from Facebook to backdrop.org. We just need to keep in front of them. So if they need it, then they're willing to do it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And also like for people who don't know about Backdrop yet, but if like one of their friends likes something, then they might see it too. So I think it's also something where it's like, oh, if Tim liked this thing and I trust Tim as a Drupal person, maybe I should check it out, sort of thing might be good too. So having that like friend connection thing is helpful, where you don't have that with like a Google ad in the same way.
Right.
But yeah, I think if we can do that for free, that's good.
Sort of like endorsement sort of thing.
Yeah.
I can't offer anything like useful because I'm not a Facebook or Twitter person, like I'm a caveman when it comes to that. But there was a discussion at work, and people, at least, I don't know, the more mature ones, like over 30, are giving up on Facebook, as in not being as addicted, not using it more sensibly, I would say. But still, it's a useful tool, I think, for the people that use it, because it has a broad audience.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what caused it, but my observation is that over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we had quite a few excited as well old-timer Drupalists join the community, and I don't know if they were following before and they became more vocal on the Gitter channel, but excited and like beautiful comments as well.
Good. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, was it the minicamp? Was it the podcast that you did
is
then?
it just that Drupal 7 is like now at the end and people are looking at Backdrop again? Yeah, it could be any one or a combination.
Or a combination, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I sort of feel the same way. I feel like I've had good conversations via email with a bunch of people who are like, oh, I knew about Backdrop a long time ago, but I didn't really take it seriously until now. And then I've seen sort of an uptick in the issues as well. Like there's people who are like, oh, I'm trying stuff and having problems. And I'm like, oh, good, someone new is trying stuff. I mean, maybe not good you're having problems, but good that you found the issue queue. Yeah, and I think in general we're growing, which is good. But
yeah.
time will tell.
I'm always very vocal about like when we have news or new releases in our Slack channel in the company, and everybody's like rolling their eyes. It's like
you again.
Not Backdrop again. Just and the thing was exciting that the technical lead, if I remember the correct title of GovCMS, which is really big with us, like in Australia as well, and for the company, for us, that we're sort of like the official providers of support, asked me, hey, have you tried to port the GovCMS 7 distribution to Backdrop? And I go, I'm gonna screenshot this and send it to Con. Like one of the guys
do it right now.
And I actually gave it a shot. I got at some point, to get it to be installed, but I have to convert features and custom modules and stuff like that. So yeah, I have an upcoming 2 weeks holiday, and I know that I'm not going to be able to just sit and relax and not open my computer. I'm going to do things. So this is on my list of, trying. I know they're going to call it a sacrilege, but the point is that there is no easy migration at the time from D7 to D8. And with GovCMS specifically, there's a 7 and an 8 distribution, and most people, agencies, government agencies that are starting to build their sites now, they build on D8, but there's like at least 190, 180 sites that are on D7. So I'm guessing that this guy's question was, look, in 2.5 years, we're gonna have to make these people are gonna have to make a move. Either they're gonna find the budget to rebuild or migrate, or then the question, yes. So yeah, if I can make it an option, then I would be glad.
Yeah.
And it will be more like a sort of like an accomplishment plaza in your face thing. We've done it. But yeah, I'm not sure what causes people to come. I can't help with that.
All right. Well, is there anything particularly exciting going on in the world of Backdrop right now that we should push on Twitter or Facebook? The last few weeks I've been trying to reinforce Backdrop is Drupal 7, and then I've included like a bunch of the statistics from our page. Like we have 91 of the top 100 modules, which I think is about to be 92. Yeah, I think the more we can get like upgrade paths documented, we'll be able to start promoting that too. But
I can think of two things. One is if we have very good progress in a couple of features that are coming for 1.14. So we could sort of like spoilers for what's coming and invite people to test it. And
I'm not sure Twitter and Facebook are places where we can get that kind of help. At least it's not what I've seen so far. I feel like the kinds of people who are following us on Twitter and Facebook are usually the people who are like trying to get information about Backdrop, not necessarily trying to contribute to Backdrop. But I do like the idea of promoting those things, and I'd love to do that somewhere. Maybe Twitter, but not Facebook.
Yeah, like what's coming next, sort of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if we do more posts on Twitter anyway, that's good because we'll need more.
Yeah, if we're confident that we're 90% there of delivering those features, yeah, it would be a good idea.
Okay.
And the other thought was that there seemed to be a lot of, I know that it's not the main target audience, but there is some sort of like resistance from people that want to use Composer. And since people are working on Composer now, I don't know, tweet about that.
We did that originally. Jeff wrote that blog post where he was like, hey, you can use Backdrop with Composer. And there were a whole bunch of people that were like, no. And so I'm like, maybe we shouldn't mention this.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know. I don't know whether it's like important. And then we're like, it's optional. They're like, so I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's better to like try and go after the people who want it or try and like appease the people who don't, because there's both. Yeah. Like we could do both. It's totally fine.
It's a totally valid point. Yeah, I can see the reasoning behind it.
I think it's possible to do a blog post that promotes Composer while being sensitive to that. Like,
yeah,
look at this. We are addressing both audiences.
Yeah.
Look at
here. I think like if we can get a consensus on that issue,
yeah.
About how to include the compose in JSON file, like whether it ends up being like removed by the packaging script or whatever, then we could be like, hey, look, we do both. This is how, or we could just promote the like the Docker image, right? Where it's like, hey, here you have it, here you don't. Just whatever we end up deciding to do, I think a blog post would be good. But we should definitely.
And the blog post should have like in huge capital letters that optionally.
So, on a slightly different topic, numbers. I just posted in Gitter. We had 900. Our project usage stats. The highest has been 949. We're approaching 1,000 for the first time. You're right, and that's a good thing. I don't know though if Accenture, talking about that is a good thing in the sense that it's a good thing for us because we've been following the numbers and we can see them going up. But is it an impressive number to other people? Like, to say, hey, we just reached 1,000. Other people might think we're way past that.
I think it would be good if we could get like a visual, like if we could graph those numbers and show the graph like increasing, that would be valid regardless of what the numbers are. But I think just the number by itself might not be compelling, especially to people coming from Drupal where they're used to seeing like hundreds of thousands.
Right.
But yeah, I think that could still be good. Like we just need to take that data and throw it in the thing. Another thing that might be interesting too is that we finally, Jeff found my bug in the bug I introduced into the usage, like the download counts.
Mm-hmm.
So we should get like real download counts now on Backdrop. So that might be something that's interesting too, where before it was like, oh, it's 8,000. Well, now it should be a lot more than that. So that could be something worth pointing out. Like, hey, we fixed the download statistics for all of this stuff. Now I gotta go look at it.
Yes, that's what I did. So it's not on the
4,000. That's way better. Yeah.
So at Twin Cities Camp, Wes was actually doing a little demo with some people at the unconference about his fancy control or analytics panel that I think he had set up for Backdrop. And I meant to talk to him about that. Did we ever get, like, is the Backdrop one still available, working somewhere?
I think so. He's got it in a Google Doc.
Maybe I'll ask. I think you pinged him on Gitter and asked about it, but I didn't ever see a reply.
Yeah, no, I think I found it. I can find it again. There might be an issue. I think there might have been an issue somewhere that had a comment where Ross is like, by the way, I set this up. I think it was the analytics tracking for Backdrop issue in backdropcms.org.
Okay.
But there's just a Google Doc that pulls in information from all the sources and just places them in little neat graphs and stuff. So I checked on it and it was still working last time. But it would be good to, I haven't looked at it in a while. So
I've never seen that, so it'd be interesting.
thing when it comes to usage statistics, now that you mentioned it, maybe you've seen the number before the 15th of June. Now it's back down to 870. And it's been fluctuating like that. So I think that there might be servers that are running a lot of sites and they've been set to sort of like check for updates every 15 days or something like that. So they go up and down. But yeah, it's a good indication. So what Jen said, like if we could put that on a graph, it would still be fluctuating, but the general sort of like, line over time would,
Exactly. And like, it's not exact enough that hitting the number 1,000 means much other than it's just sort of a milestone.
Yeah. Maybe worth celebrating. Yeah, we hit 1,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm more interested in getting 1,000 happy site builders rather than many more
sites.
So yeah, even the 3 or 4 comments, the exciting comments that we had in Gitter are more rewarding to me. Sort of like a testament to what all the energy and the love that we've put in the product, like it's being appreciated. I like that.
Yeah. I talked to somebody from a university who has a test going right now where they're doing usability studies for content editors. And he said he's going to try and squeeze Backdrop into the list of CMSs that they're testing, and he'll keep us posted on how it does. He's like, I'm secretly hoping it does really well on the usability tests because then maybe I can use it. So
now that you mentioned that, there was a usability test during the last Drupalcon, I think, from the guys that are doing the new Claro administrative theme, but I'm not sure if the results of that study are out. Would be interesting.
Is that for Drupal 8?
Yeah.
Or just for their theme?
I think they were doing Drupal 8 and WordPress.
Okay.
Or something like that. So I'll have to The bad thing with the Slack, the Drupal Slack, the official one, is that it's not the beta version. So after a while, it swallows all the history.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can Google around. I'm certain that there will be some mention of the usability study.
Okay.
Or just in case we want to do our own usability study, at least if we have the same list of things, like what they, like the scripts, whatever they call them, so we can, if we want to organize it, it will be a helper.
Yeah, that'd be fun. All right, let's see. Events and meetups. We have Drupalcamp Asheville coming up. OSCON, Software Freedom Conservancy has a booth. I reached out to OSCON to contact them about like sponsorship opportunities, and they're in the tens of thousands of dollars. And so I was like, well, how do we get one of these like tiny little booths over here on the side? And they're like, oh, those are like nonprofit. We give those away for free. So I was like, okay, how do I get on that list so that next year we can get one of those? So they added me to their list. So even though it was too late for this year, hopefully they'll contact us. I noticed that's where Drupal's table is. That's where the Freedom Conservancy's table is. And so I was like, okay, that's where we want to be. It's like not in the $1 million table area, but in the like off on the side where it's like, we're free over here. So hopefully that'll help next year. This year, Conservancy will have our stickers and they'll hand those out for us. But
I wanted to ask that so many times and then I keep forgetting. So are we getting any donations? Do we have any visibility on that? And shouldn't we be transparent about if we're getting money, where that goes?
Like, we haven't been getting any money, which is why we haven't been worrying about it. We also haven't been asking for any money. And part of that is because we haven't quite figured out how to manage it with Conservancy. I think they're changing systems over there, which will make it all a lot easier. But right now, you can mail them a paper check, or you can use the donate button on our contribute page. And that's the only way money gets earmarked for Backdrop at the Conservancy. And then if you buy a t-shirt or hoodie directly from us, we collect that money and then donate it all over to them at the end of the year. But we haven't been like bringing them with us and selling them places because we're not really supposed to do that. We're supposed to send all the money directly through the Conservancy first, but they don't have any way to actually handle those transactions. So we've been kind of on hold with trying to like, we haven't been trying to do that because we don't want to get in trouble. But if someone were to happen to like buy something from us, then we like take the money and we'll give it to them at the end of the year. But we haven't been like actively working on it. And I think like the only things we're spending money on right now are hosting.
How much is that? Like who's paying for that now?
I don't remember. I think we just changed all of our servers over. So this year there's going to be like 1 month where everything's double, 1 or 2 months where everything's double because we went from the old machines to the PHP 7 ones.
But who's paying that?
$60 a month or something. It's not.
Who's paying that for?
Nate. So it's on Nate's card, and then at the end of the year, he has to submit for reimbursement for the hosting.
Okay. And so the reason why I brought this up was that I recall the reasons and the discussions that we had of why we moved to Conservancy, because we didn't want to sort of like burden you guys, tax-wise. But I remember the general feeling was that we sort of like delegated another task that we would have to do normally, and that was good because we can focus on other things. But now we're not getting any money. It's like I'm not sure if we were getting before.
So we got a bunch of money at the very beginning when we did the like GoFundMe campaign, and most of that we spent. And so I think we haven't had any like urgent need. Like if somebody came with a huge check and was like, we want to do this thing, we would definitely motivate ourselves to figure everything out. But because it's been like, $25 for a t-shirt or whatever, it hasn't been a huge priority. But I think like as we start, if we start to accrue new expenses, it will become a priority. I don't know, we haven't really moved forward on it. Yeah. Oh, Nate's here, guys.
Yeah. Oh, hi, everybody.
Just start.
We've got a painted wall.
Yeah, I know. I apologize for construction. Half painted wall.
So I want to say a couple of things, like regarding finances, like some things that I'd like to put in place is that we currently have a PayPal account, and that's what happens when you buy a t-shirt or a jacket. It goes into that PayPal account. But if you make a donation, it goes to the Software Freedom Conservancy.
Yeah.
And so I think we should reorganize our contribute page to like the shopping section. Like because like to emphasize that if you're buying a hoodie or a t-shirt, that's exactly what you're doing. You're buying a hoodie or a t-shirt. You're not making a donation because you're not actually giving us money when you do
It's
that.
like $5 a hoodie and $10 a t-shirt. It's like nothing.
With the shipping, sometimes it actually ends up
we don't
costing
usually
money.
ship things. The only times we've shipped something to like Europe for Olaf, and I think, Gregory, you're on the list too.
You said that you posted something to me, but I never received it, which is terrible. But yeah.
But I don't think those we actually charged a backdrop. I think I was just like, it's worth it for me to get this stuff to Olaf, so I just paid for it.
Yeah. So the like buy t-shirt and hoodie should definitely be spun from your funding backdrop by buying these things, because you're spreading the marketing and the word about backdrop, which is,
it has been rephrased on the page.
Okay.
Yeah, it says like this is starts a talking point about backdrop with you and your friends. So it doesn't say donate anymore. It says buy. It says shop.
The Software Freedom Conservancy also made it clear that the way that we were currently distributing t-shirts and stuff like that wasn't really valid for donations anyway, because like donations, like you can have thank you gifts, but the thank you gift needs to be substantially lower value.
They didn't say it needs to be. They just said that that's the way it works for all of their other projects. Like if you actually want to make money off of it, then your t-shirt needs to be like $100 and your sweatshirt needs to be like $200 or something.
Okay, that would be my next question, because I think that, was it our own funding campaign that it was saying that if you donate X amount of money, then you will get this or you will get that. So question one was,
that's how it was at the beginning. Yeah.
So question one is, can we delegate the selling or the whole process of swag to the Conservancy? And secondly, do we want to do that?
So they don't do that now.
They don't do it. Okay.
Which is why we haven't been moving to do that quickly, because they don't have any way to handle that.
Yeah. We could have options like, see how we have large, extra large, whatever you choose, and then it has a price. Then we could say, we could have options that buy the hoodie or buy and donate.
Yeah.
Yep. So the going back to the whole finances thing, I think it's actually good that we have a low cost option for buying a shirt or a hoodie, just to get marketing word out there.
Yep.
And then maybe also like we can have maybe eventually have some kind of thank you gift type thing.
Well, I like Gregory's idea of just adding another price point that's like buy plus donation, and just have it be that way. You can get the t-shirt.
Yeah, I think I've seen it before. So you would say that the hoodie costs $10, but if you pay more, it goes to donation, something like that.
Yeah, and then the donation becomes more valuable to a lot of people, because then it's tax deductible here in the United States. But also it makes it so that if you have like employee matching programs or something like that, you can have it be donation matched, through either your employer or another organization. So there's some value in the donation method being like better. Like people would prefer that, I think.
Yeah, it's the end of the financial year here, so there's a lot of ads on the radio from Red Cross and people like that saying, hey, like you're doing your tax return, instead of paying taxes, you can donate, it will be deductible. So this is what sort of like sparked the questions.
Yep. Like to wrap up finally, I had pitched to Jen, I haven't posted the PMC, which I really should, like a financial adjustment where I would like to use our existing PayPal account as our bank account, like officially, basically. Use a debit card through PayPal to pay like hosting costs and things like that. And then PayPal becomes, first of all, it's easier to share with other people.
So before we do any of this, this is specifically prohibited by the Conservancy. So we need to run it by them first. We're not allowed to accept any money via PayPal that's not through their account.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is why we haven't been pushing t-shirts and hoodies on our website, because it's not allowed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
So we should ask them, because that was also a year ago or whatever, where they're like, no, take all this stuff down. And we're like, but you don't have anyone to do this. And they're like, that's correct. And we're like, so what do we do? And they're like,
All right.
So I think we should revisit that, because I think they're changing the way that they do things over there.
Okay.
Figure out what is allowed and what isn't. And then once we know that, you can post to the PMC with what you would want to do based on what's allowed. But yeah, we just need to figure out, like, we don't have a lot of expenses right now. We also don't have a lot of money, but should we need anything, we need to figure out in a hurry. It'd be better to figure it out before we're in a hurry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, anyway, we can figure the finances out.
But I agree, to your point, Gregory, that it should all be public. Once we figure out like where the money comes in and where it goes out, we should have a public accounting of it. Maybe like once a year we publish a document that's like, this is this year's what we did, and this is our plan for next year.
Because this will, and if we post a link to that article or the history of whatever article, it doesn't have to be like a different page. If it's here, it can be a page that we update with like a, I don't know, a table of expenses and what have you, and we can link that from the donation page, like donate, see where we're spending the money.
Yep.
But my major concern was that because I had the impression, and I was right, that this is coming out of one of your sort of like.
Not if you make a donation like through the donate button on our page, it goes to Conservancy and you get the tax deduction thing. Actually, I asked them about that last year, and they said they didn't have any way to do it internationally. They needed some special thing they didn't have.
Yeah, that brings another question that I will ask later. But the thing was that I know that we had some small pool of money, and that pays for the hosting expenses. But at some point, I thought that this might have run out or soon. So if we get exposure, as in, we have a pool of $2,000, but it costs us $60 a month. It sort of like puts a deadline, and sort of like we need to make sure that this pool of money stays sort of like at a certain level where sort of like it doesn't force people paying out of their pockets.
Yeah.
That was the first bit, and then I was also interested in making donations. Like, I see the tax paying in Australia sort of like a way that I provide money to the government, and they invest that where they see fit, and I see it beneficial to me. But I see if the option was to donate and get deducted, to donate to Backdrop and then get deducted that from my whatever tax I was to pay, I would see that as me choosing where to invest my tax to, like what cause I want to sort of like pay for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I am thinking that at the back of my head, I guess that more people do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, okay, so we've got a couple of things to ask the Conservancy. I'd like to revisit this international tax deduction status to make sure they haven't made any progress on that in the last year, because they might have. We should also figure out what's going on with PayPal versus not PayPal ways to accept money, because they might have other solutions now that are better. And then we need to figure out a proposal for a better way to manage this, because I think right now Nate's paying the hosting off of his own credit card. And so what he would do is pay it and then ask for reimbursement at the end of the year from the Conservancy, and they would pull that from our pool of money. But what he wanted to do was to have like more of a liquid account that belonged to Backdrop, which we can't do if Conservancy is managing our money, just because they don't have a way to manage it for all of their projects yet, or they didn't last time we asked. And so he thought it might be good to have something where, like, at the end of the year, we take everything from our liquid pool and donate it to Backdrop, and then next year we proceed to like collect and pay, and then at the end of the year donate. And so it would sort of be like a every year single donation from like Backdrop, the organization, to Conservancy as our fiscal sponsor. But we need to clear that with them first and see if that's something that they can support, or if they have a better way to handle that. So
it makes sense. So with regards to the national donations, we could get the help of the people that are living in the countries. I did pose that question to my accountant, but his response was more like, they're very busy people. And he's like, I had no such request from any of our customers, and I'm not aware of anything. I will look into it, but that it's been like about a year now. So, and I did try to just Google about it, because the government here is very diligent. Like, they have a website about everything, but I couldn't find anything any literature related to that. Maybe I'll just call the tax department, just literally because they have a hotline, and ask them. But yeah, point is that maybe the Conservancy has better ways to do that. And I imagine that it might be different for each country.
Okay, well, I will ask them about that. But it is time for our other meeting. Is there anything in particular you guys wanted to add about outreach stuff?
My mic is down here. Let me, two quick things. One, you keep referencing that I don't like the way we do our agenda. And let me just be clear. It's not, I think the problem is that, or one of the problems is that there's no prioritization.
Yeah.
We sort of start at the top and we end up in a rabbit hole, and something that might be important at the end we never get to. So maybe one suggestion is that we identify at the beginning of the meeting what the most important items are, and try and hit those first, and then we can, as we have time, just work through it like we are. I don't know, because that brings me to the point, like what I would have said at the beginning of the meeting is, for me, the virtual user group is a big outreach tool, right? Or could be, and I'd like ideas for what to do next. In theory, the first Tuesday of the month is next Tuesday, which is the 4th of July weekend. Not enough time to do anything, but I'd like to maybe we schedule for the week after. And I just wanted feedback. Should we do that? Should we schedule something for a week from Tuesday?
Yes, please.
And what should it be? Because I'm running out of ideas.
I feel like we had a recommendation. Did it come up at the mini camp or something? But I don't remember what it was. I feel like there was a recommendation, but I don't remember.
Nope. There's been a couple of them. Unfortunately, I don't remember most of them. One of them was tests.
Okay.
And I have and that's what we were talking about right before you got on the call. I think Peter actually originally recommended it. Gregory commented on it, and he said that that's just something like, certainly as a contributor to Backdrop, that he's would like some help on. To me, I've been shooting for a little bit more beginner type topics than tests. On the other hand, I don't know where else we would cover this, and I think it's perfectly appropriate. So.
Yes.
Yeah, one thing for the virtual user group is that I know that we discussed a few topics like migration and layout, but it's like within 1 hour, it's just not enough to sort of like discuss everything. So I don't mind if we revisit things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially migrating from D7, like moving.
Well, one of my ideas would be, when we first talked about upgrades, we talked about them very generically. I felt like the little demo we did at the mini camp was like a first step at actually doing something more practical, a presentation, and it might be worth revisiting the upgrades with an actual demo, improving upon what we did at the mini camp. I don't know, that's just another idea.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? We can go offline and answer this on Gitter, I think, and I'd like to come up with something today. So, okay, we'll plan to do something a week from Tuesday, and ideally have a topic here within the next hour or so. I'll think about this some more, and if anybody has any more ideas, ping them in Gitter, or we might talk about it real briefly at the next meeting too. I don't know. See if anybody there has any ideas.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's it.
Right.
See you in a few minutes.
Thanks.
Yep.